A week?
maybe.
Okay.
Sometimes you end up getting like 3 in a week. Most of the time, it's 1 or less.
Hmm.
There was a period of time where there was nothing.
Where do they go? Do you know?
5 Field to get wood.
As far as they go.
Oh, they're going to
Yeah,
that wood
to the
yard.
wood yard,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
They used to go up to Park Falls, but then that mill closed. Before that, they used to go all the way up to Ashland. Then we had that
And
big
that's all
rain that
gone.
washed
Yeah,
out the.
right.
Yep, the
bridge,
grade,
and
yeah.
They just didn't replace it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they can't go any further.
I think most of them run through Ladysmith, that area. And they're trying.
Well,
to
you
get
got the frac sand there.
Yeah.
Do you know Ashland used to be one of the major hubs for rail?
Oh, I believe it.
Unbelievable how many trains went through Ashland that one period.
And now hardly any other.
Now, is there even a railroad that goes through Ashland?
I think-
Well, there's one that went through the Bad River, but it's abandoned now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The rail line going north to Ashland was cut back in the big storm of 2016.
Yeah.
One of the overpasses was washed out.
That makes that sound like it was like millions of years ago when you say the big storm of 2016.
Yeah. That whole highway was closed down for a while.
Yeah.
And the Ashland was fun.
Yeah,
That was crazy.
there was the legitimate official route from here to Ashland went through Duluth.
Yeah.
And the unofficial one was on a gravel road that was half washed out down to 1 lane wide with a gully 10 feet deep and a vertical side right next to it if you had the courage to drive it.
Yeah.
A friend of mine scouted it out and found it.
We had a project that was.
Okay, it's 11 o'clock. I call this meeting to order. Regina, roll call.
Joe Meckler,
Speaking.
Jeremy Heskel,
Yes.
Russ Long,
Here,
and Regina Mianovich is here.
And let's add
Phil Kriesel, MSA.
from MSA. Let's add them to the roll call because this is a meeting involving them. And Jeff Siemendel, MSA. Got that? And Bryce Chainborn, attorney. Okay, our first agenda item is to accept the bid for the Cranberry Lake Lane, Little Chicago Road Arab project. However, something came up yesterday. One of the bidders was unhappy and filed a lawsuit. And I think Bryce, our attorney, can summarize that situation better than I can. So Bryce, if you would.
Sure, absolutely. Just briefly, so this was filed just yesterday in the afternoon by Jake's Excavating against the town. The contractor, Jake's Excavating, is seeking a temporary injunction preventing the town from awarding the bid to any other bidder. And that's yet to be heard by the court. There's kind of 2 requests. The first request of Jake's is that, they sign what's called an ex parte order, which is, the judge just reviews it and signs it without a hearing, and then we go forward from there. The secondary request is that if the judge is unwilling to do that, that we hold a hearing on the request for an injunction, which will usually happen relatively quickly. That's been turned over to the insurance carrier for the town, Rural, who is in the process of securing counsel for the town. I believe that they have. I've been in contact with attorney Mike Roman and attorney Elizabeth Reiths out of Wausau. They've represented the town in various matters before. They were unable to be here today on such short notice. One of the requests that they're making, or one of the, questions that they posited to me is this a decision that the town needs to make right now today? Is this a situation where the contract needs to be awarded today in order for the project to be completed this year, essentially? Because if not, their strong preference would be, well, let's deal with this temporary injunction situation first and then take up the question of the award, such that we aren't in a position where the town potentially awards the contract to somebody and then there's either a pending hearing where, in all likelihood, whoever's awarded the contract would be waiting for the outcome of that hearing, or there's a temporary injunction that's signed in the interim and everything kind of grinds to a halt.
okay, how can he file an injunction when nothing has been awarded? Because he doesn't know if he's going to be awarded the contract.
Sure. We're in open session, so I'm not going to dive a whole lot into the merits of it, but here's what I can tell you their request is. Their request is for a temporary injunction that would prevent the town from awarding the contract to anybody else, notably Janik, and Sons as, the low, we'll call them the untimely bidder, okay? The basis of their request is that they're alleging in sum that the Janix bid was untimely and therefore the town, shouldn't award them the bid, that Janick is potentially an unresponsible or non-responsible bidder because they weren't able to get their bid in on time, and that the town may be preferencing local contractors over non-local contractors. But I mean, your point's well taken. Nothing's happened yet, and they're requesting an injunction. I understand that. They're, I think, trying to act before the town makes their decision to prevent, I suppose, damage.
So it sounds like the experts in the field, the attorney field, and expert as a knowledgeable person, not the snarky definition of drip under pressure, are saying sit tight for a couple weeks.
So long as that's feasible, and I guess I would turn to Jeff as their engineer and ask, for purposes of creating a record, is this a project that needs to be awarded today in order to stay on schedule? Or, if we had to kick it out 2, 3, 4 weeks, is this still a project that could potentially happen this year?
Yeah, I would say that would be the case. You could probably postpone it for a couple of weeks as long as we get the construction done, within the construction window up here, which is like the end of October. So,
Okay.
We have two people in the audience. Are one or the other of you from
I'm
Janix?
from Janix.
Okay. Is that a problem holding off a couple of weeks before awarding the bid?
Not on my end, because the grinder ain't gonna come. I mean, we were gonna do ditching first, because the grinder ain't coming until July, I think, to do D. And he's
Okay,
doing all of them
so
at the same
a
time.
couple week delay does not hurt your bid. And can we reasonably assume that a couple week delay would not hurt Jake's Excavating? They'd be in a similar position to you guys?
I can't speak on their behalf, but I know it wouldn't affect it on our end.
Yeah.
Getting it done.
So we can probably reasonably assume that a minor delay of a couple weeks would not hurt either bid.
I think that's a reasonable assumption.
The only
Yeah.
reason, I got a crusher coming in this week and a Monday, and I was gonna crush gravel for this job. That's the only delay. They might be gone and out of there. That's the only pushing it back. Without crushing and having 10,000 yards piled up for this job that we don't get, and push comes to shove, I'm sure he's not gonna buy it from us if he gets it,
Well, yeah, okay, so a couple week delay is probably not going to hurt. The engineers feel that. One contractor feels that it's reasonable, not fatal.
Mhm.
But a couple weeks, not a couple months.
Yeah, understood.
So.
Okay.
Time is of the essence, but not extremely so. Would that be a reasonable way to put it?
Well, it sounds like that's from the construction standpoint.
Yeah.
That's the situation. Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll know more once the court has some time to review what's been filed, decide if the judge is going to be granting, the ex parte order, or if they'll be setting it for a hearing.
Yeah.
If they set it for a hearing, well, then it just becomes a function of scheduling. When can the judge's calendar, Attorney Reith's or Roman's calendar, and Attorney Wickman's calendars line up?
Okay, now let's say push comes to shove and it drags out. Is this Arup project something that we could do in 2027?
Yes,
Okay.
you could not accept any bids and rebid it.
Then we'd have, if we does not get done this year, we'd have to rebid it for next year.
Yes.
Okay. Is that a decision that we could make, say, now or in the next couple of weeks and say, geez, we don't want to deal with this this year. Let's just decline all bids and rebid it next year.
Yeah, of course. Of course. That's a decision that.
We don't have to accept the bid now.
Right. Yep. I mean, somebody could motion to, table this item to a different meeting. Somebody could motion to reject all bids. Sure. All of that is within the
Even though the bids come in well under the engineer's estimated amount, which in itself was underneath the original budgeted amount.
Right.
We can reject all bids even if they're all good bids.
Right.
Okay, so we have that.
But
So-
it's just gonna cost more next year.
That's my only thought.
Yeah.
Because realistically, I mean,
Yeah.
if we accepted Jake's bid right now, all of that goes away and we just move forward, correct?
Yes.
Well, personally, I'm in favor of sitting tight for a couple of weeks and see what happens. Because there's no big financial commitments on anybody's part in the next couple of weeks. And that would get us out to, let's see here, our regular town board meeting is, let's see, today is the 5th, is 2 weeks from now. Is it likely we have an answer by then?
That might be a stretch if I'm being honest. I don't know what the court's calendar looks like over the next couple of weeks, but that's going to be kind of the determining factor
Yeah.
if they don't sign the
Yeah.
ex parte injunction.
So this could stretch out for potentially 6 weeks to 2 months.
It could.
Yeah,
Good.
so I mean,
Sure.
then now we're past the window of getting it done this year.
Right, but of course, let's say hypothetically that the court doesn't sign the temporary injunction and decides instead that it's going to schedule it for a hearing, and they schedule that hearing for the middle of July, right? Well, then you guys are probably going to hold another meeting before that. You're going to decide we can't wait till July to move on this one way or the other, and you'll still have the same options that you have sitting here today. Do I accept this bid? Do I accept that bid? Do I reject all bids? That sort of a thing.
We don't specifically tell the contractor how many days he has to get the job done. We just give him a date of when he has to have the completion done. And I believe it's October.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Rather than saying, okay, you
Yeah.
only have 30 days to do this. We don't say that. We just have, we say you can start
And-
whenever you
and
want.
For
And then,
this particular road, part of the contract is keeping the road open to traffic, as in one lane. And so the exact amount of time it's closed is not a huge deal. So there's no need to put something like that in the contract. I know.
Except for that, there is an excessive amount of traffic on that road in September and October and November. So doing construction then is not gonna be ideal.
Yeah. So how about we just sit tight for a couple of weeks, see what comes out? I think that's the approach I would recommend.
Well, after this, what are we gonna know?
After that hearing,
Yeah,
whether or not the court grants that temporary injunction. The requested temporary injunction is basically, and I can look at the proposed order, but it's basically preventing the town from awarding that bid to Janik. The bid that would be low, but was not timely.
so 2 weeks saves us a potential lawsuit.
It doesn't save you a potential lawsuit because you're involved in the lawsuit regardless of what happens. But because what would be heard in, I guess 2 to 4 weeks is what I should say, is the request for just a temporary injunction, an order that would be in place while the actual merits of the lawsuit play out.
So if the court turns down a temporary injunction,
Right.
that would be an indicator that they think that Jake's has a very weak case.
Potentially, depending on how that hearing goes, the comments that the judge makes. The burden for getting a temporary injunction is
And I noticed that as part of the documents that they made as part of this lawsuit was your legal opinion was in there.
right.
And
Yep.
So that would be, and everything that they sent us is what they sent to the court.
Yes.
Okay, so the court definitely sees what you wrote then, your opinion, your
Yes.
legal opinion.
That was attached to the complaint.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So waiting until the court acts on that simply potentially avoids a situation where the board moves forward, let's say hypothetically awards it to Janix, and then in 3 weeks, the court says, hold your horses, I'm granting this temporary injunction so that we can hear the merits of this case and flesh all this out and see what's going on here.
And also, if we could award it to Jake's and have Janix sue us because they're the low bidder.
Sure. Yep. Darned if you do, darned if you don't.
So the least painful solution would be for us to just put it on hold until we hear what the judge says for this ex parte, what do you call it?
Yeah, the request for a
Yeah.
temporary injunction, we can call it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So was Bryce's professional opinion in that letter that you sent, that you emailed over? What was that stating exactly?
Mine,
Yeah, what's your professional opinion on it?
the essence of the letter was essentially that a municipality has the authority to accept a late bid under certain circumstances. There's a published Court of Appeals case that indicates that municipalities have that discretion. And that's the long and short
Kind
of
of
it.
what I got out of it too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Legal to accept our bid, it's up to the board. Pretty
I think
much,
so.
right?
Yes.
As I understand it, if I correctly understand what you wrote there and that your legal opinion
Mhm.
was that we have two bids and, okay, normally if all bids have been submitted properly on time, we'd pretty much be required to take the low bid unless we could prove that the low bidder was not qualified.
Right. Not a responsible bidder.
But we have two bids now that are both from what are legally termed responsible bidders. And in this particular set of circumstances, we would have the choice between them,
Essentially, because you have the timely bid.
right?
So the town could reasonably say, well, Janix, yours was too late. I understand the reasons, but I'm denying it. I'm going with the lowest timely bid. Conversely, the town could say, well, Janix was the lowest bid, and we understand the facts and circumstances surrounding why their bid was late, and that's been demonstrated. And yada yada. So we're going with that bid.
And that's backed up by that Court of Appeals case that you quoted.
Right. Right. I think the town has the discretion to choose between the two.
But there's also the practical reality that anybody can sue anybody for any reason at all. However, their chances of winning are something else.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yes, Jake's is suing, but your belief is that their chance of winning are quite low.
Well, they're alleging, like I said, essentially that the town should accept the late bid, that they're favoring a local contractor, and that Janix is not a responsible bidder by reason of not being able to get their bid in on time. Yeah, I mean, if I'm just talking about the merits of the case, I like the town's better than I like Jake's.
So our options are today, we can make this case go away by accepting the Jake's bid.
Mhm.
We can sit on it for a couple weeks,
Right, table it.
table it, yeah.
So now can you get responsible contractors and their qualities and do like checks on them? Because I do believe that he's got a lawsuit on him from the city for.
Well, no, we
Yeah,
cannot
right.
consider that.
Well,
Can't.
Yeah, we cannot.
I mean, a municipality can evaluate whether or not somebody's quote unquote a responsible bidder. But generally you do that through a pre-screening process before you start opening bids and accepting bids and things like that. More often than not, at least.
Yeah.
And then if it's after bids are open, more often than not, you're relying on not to throw you under the bus, but the opinions of your engineers who work with these people all the time. Is this a job that they can handle? Yeah, it's a job that they can handle.
Yeah, but evaluating bidders after the bids are open is, as I understand it, a very bad thing to do.
Well, it can lead to problems. Yes, yes.
But how do you know who's bidding on the jobs before it's getting,
Yeah.
Isn't that the whole right of?
Well, that's why part of when a bid is, when the bids come in, normally the engineers go through the lowest bid and evaluate it. And I'm not sure exactly what they do. If you guys could kind of give a quick review of how you evaluate a bid after the bids are open, but before you turn it over to the town.
So a contractor that can't that wouldn't be able to do the work, most likely wouldn't be able to get a bid bond and a bond for the project. So if they can bond for the project, they're probably capable of doing that work. So they're kind of precluded right away. If they can't bond for it, they probably couldn't even put in a bid. So that's kind of the first test. We have done pre-qualifications in the past. The problem is contractors are getting big enough. They can show, we can only pre-qualify on certain merits, and most contractors that we feel would bid the projects would be able to meet those metrics. So
So what process, I know you were doing some processing on the bids after,
we're basically looking at the math to make sure that there's not a math error. And with Quest, we don't get that as much as we used to. We used to get contractors that would, they would say it's $1 a square yard, and there was 1,000 square yards, and their bid would be $500. Well, now we know that there's an error in there. Those don't happen like they used to. So basically, we're just checking to make sure that the math is correct and that they put information in there for everything. Because we've had bidders that would not put a price in, and that disqualifies them as a bidder because they said, well, we're not going to do, the bidder could say, well, I'm not going to pulverize it. I'm going to just overlay it. No, that's not what's in the bidding documents. And we've seen that. So
It's a unit price bid, so they have to put a dollar amount
Yep.
in for every item.
okay. So, and then you guys also prepare like a contract for signing?
yes, there's
Yep.
back and forth documents. There's documents that go to you first, and then we bring them back, and then we prepare more documents, and it goes to the contractor, and it comes back to you, and then it goes back to the
So
contractor.
I had asked you, because of this situation of having two qualified bids, based on what he said, to prepare the documents for either one. So
And we have
that if we made a decision today, we could sign the papers and be on our way,
Yes.
And I did email you those.
Yeah.
When was it, yesterday?
something like that. I think so.
Yeah. They were both packets. So.
So you should be prepared for if you just decide to go one way or another, you have the documents to go either way.
So how are the I forget, I don't know what term you would use, but some of the intangibles of this, some of the stuff that, there's a couple areas in the road that we knew we were going to have to excavate and refill. Those in these bid processes are just based off of the max of what you think could happen, or is it
They're
based on-
estimated quantities. They're all unit prices. So
But I guess where I'm going with this is, does it turn into, okay, say there's that rough section on Cranberry Lake Road, and that's for your quantity estimate is 50,000 to do that. What happens if it goes more? We're paying that?
Yes.
That's an overage?
yes,
Okay.
it's a unit price. So they get paid for what they actually do. If I estimate they have to put 10 feet of pipe in, we got to put 20 feet
So,
in, we pay them for that.
But in the estimating process, whether that's based off of just a particular number. So like you're saying that they're gonna. So if you say they're taking 500, if you're saying it's a unit price bid, in that place, in that situation, you're saying that they have to take 500 yards out, and they give you what it's going to cost them to remove and replace 500 yards, or that's just you get 50,000 to do this, and if you go over it, you go over it.
No,
and we
well,
pay
no.
more,
It's
or-
a unit price. So
Yep.
we use the 500 in your
Yeah.
as a level of service, basically. We're not saying it's 1 yard, because if we tell them it's 1 yard or 100,000 yards, there's a different price for that unit
Mhm.
price if it's 1 yard or 100,000. So we're trying to give the contractor a range to expect those
Sure.
that to be in. And when we're out here, we won't know until we peel off what's out there, and
Right.
then we'll know what's underneath it. And it's like, okay, we've got to go from here to here. And,
Mhm.
it should be within that. And if it's not, then that's an overage for the project that the contractor would get paid for. The town would have to pay it, and the grant would pay for that.
And if it's
Grant-
not,
the
if they
grant would
don't,
continue to pay their 87% or whatever.
Correct. You're
Yeah.
under budget right now, and until you get to that budget level, you are paying the 13% of whatever that is.
and if we only need to do 200 yards instead of
Yeah, then
500,
it's
I mean,
less,
you're only going
right.
to pay for the 200.
Yep.
So we're going to be under dollar-wise that way too, so.
So it was brought up in the last meeting that the engineers had stated that Jake's Excavating would require more engineering oversight on-site.
I don't think that
Is
Jake's
that-
would take any more than Yannick would.
Okay.
I think they would be, I can't say they'd be equal. I don't know what they're capable of. We haven't worked with them in the past. You know, have they worked with the pay request system, the change order systems, the systems that we would use? Jake has used those in the past. So he's up on that. It just, you know, we may have to help guide them in other things.
Sure. I was looking at it more from a, you know, if you guys said they are gonna require more.
I wouldn't say
or
either one of
Janet, or
these.
either one we're
Yeah,
gonna
would-
require
yeah.
more, then that adds to our cost, and then does that end up being, okay, well, now those bids are, if it was one or the other, now those bids are really close. You know, I guess
Right.
that's
And I
where I was going
wouldn't-
with that, but if you don't think it's any different.
I don't
one
think
way or
that
another,
there's
then-
enough difference in the engineering effort between the two contractors to sway your decision one way or another.
Okay,
So just make it absolutely clear in my mind, if you estimate 500 yards to excavate a known soft spot and fill it up with something better and pack it down, and it turns out that it needs 1,000 yards, the contractor would get paid for 1,000 yards.
Correct.
The job would run over by 500 yards, and the grant would cover 87.7% of that cost,
Exactly.
unless there is so much overrun that it bumped up against the $1.83 million grant limit.
Exactly.
Yep.
You're
Which,
dead on.
since we're $500,000 under that limit, or 300,000 or something under
Pretty
that
rough.
limit,
Right, right.
we have very little to worry about.
You have a lot of headroom.
Yeah, I got a lot of headroom. And we budgeted for the full $2.087 million total cost.
Which you should have.
Yes. So your estimate came in 200,000 under the budget, and the highest bid was $100,000 under your estimate.
And that's, we don't want to be the low bidder. Everybody's a lot
Yeah.
happier when we're not the low bidder.
Right. Yeah. Oh. What do you guys think? Table it for a couple weeks, see what happens?
I think in order for this project to get under timely, I mean, we can give it a 2-week period, but I think at that point, we've got to make a decision. Because otherwise, this is going to drag out for who knows how long.
Well, when will we have a date that that first decision will be made?
Sure. So I can't make any promises because I don't know what everybody's calendar looks like, but I'm guessing by the end of this week, the court will have had an opportunity to review what's been filed, decide if he's granting the ex parte temporary order, and if not, proceed to scheduling.
Okay, so realistically, by within a week or so, we'll have a much better idea of how things are going to go.
I would think so.
So that would allow us to, for you to find out, communicate to us in time for our next regular town board meeting in 2 weeks.
Oh, yes, yes. We should, at the very least, have a date for a hearing within that period of time, such that, you know, like, let's say that date for some insane reason is August. Well, then there you go. The town's gonna then decide, all right, am I moving forward? Am I rejecting all bids? That sort of a thing.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's 2-3 days beyond the town meeting, you might say, well, we'll just schedule for a special meeting.
So how about table it until the next regular town board meeting?
yeah, I'll make a motion to table this to the next regular town board meeting.
I second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. It's decision accepting bids is tabled to the next regular town board meeting, which will be in 2 weeks. Okay, so so we're not going to sign a construction contract today. We're not going to accept a bid today. So I think, Bryce, we're done with you.
Okay.
But our engineers, I'd like you guys to stay because
We
the
have
next
to-
item is road discussion.
We gotta make a motion to table that to the next meeting too, the signed construction contract or not?
Yes, you should table, I mean, if it's on the agenda and you're not acting on it today, then yes.
Do you want a separate motion to table signing the construction contract?
Well, unless somebody makes a motion to lump all the things that you're gonna be tabling together, but each one of those, yes.
I'll make a
Okay.
motion to table signing construction contract for the ARIP project to the next regular monthly meeting.
I second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Nobody's opposed, so we're tabling that also.
All right,
Thanks,
thanks, everybody.
Yeah,
Thank you, Bryce.
Yep.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Okay, road discussion. Since we got not one, but two civil engineers here and our road crew foreman, Neil, now's the time, if you got any questions about road design and such, because one thing that I heard some grumbling from the guys, we had a road that was re-blacktopped a couple of years ago. Was that Rasky Road that had the frost heaving? So how much blacktop did that get on there? Was that a 3-inch job or
3 to 4.
3 to 4?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, pulverized and put on a nice thick layer of blacktop, and they're getting frost heaving on it. So naturally, on a brand new road, we're not happy about frost heaving.
What was your, what did you do to reconstruct the road? Did you just overlay what was there?
No, we pulverized and then put gravel on top, replaced culverts. I don't think we picked any rocks, but
How long was it gravel?
it was over winter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there is people's opinions, a couple of rather strong opinions I've heard around from multiple people that pulverize 1 year and drive on it for a year and then blacktop. And what I read, and bear in mind I'm not a civil engineer, but I do read once in a while, that said you got to be careful blacktopping a gravel road because a properly built gravel road has a layer near the surface that's near impervious, and if you just throw blacktop on it, that can cause frost heaving. So I'd like some comments from our civil engineers. Should we pulverize, wait for a year, and then blacktop, or pulverize, compact, and
No,
blacktop?
If you were to leave it for a year and drive over it, then that asphalt still has stickiness to it, so it'll still all stay together.
And knit back
So then-
together.
Yeah, so then if you try to grade it out the next year, it'll be all clumpy. You know, you've lost the pulverization in the material if you let it go for a whole year.
Yeah, you'll have problems with trying to reshape. Now, if you wanted to do something like that and then add additional gravel to it so that you got something to work with, that's a possibility. But really, we're trying to not have that aggregate knit back together. Because if it knits back together and if it is able to knit back together and you get some cracks in there, those are going to immediately reflect through into the surface course. Anytime you've ever seen any road that's just overlaid 13 or Highway 8, they do 1.5 inches. Within probably 3 years, those cracks are reflecting back through. That's why you pulverize, to try and get rid of all of those imperfections in the layer underneath it. And just trying to maintain that pulverized road as it tries to knit itself back together, you're going to have a hard time even trying to grade it.
What happens when you have a road that hasn't been pulverized yet and you put 3 to 5 inches of crushed on top of it, then pulverize it? What effect does that have?
That's what
Or
that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah,
That's what you're supposed to do, yeah.
That's what the plan is here to do, is
Yeah.
to put 3 inches over the existing asphalt and then run the pulverize the
Pulverizer goes
machine
through
over
with
that.
Yeah, and then work it to a road shape,
Yeah.
Correct,
and then before you
correct.
pave.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't know if you just were talking, just pulverizing the existing blacktop. And
No, we're gonna add gravel, well, they're gonna add gravel first and then
Right.
both the pulverize.
Right.
the whole
Generally,
thing.
the pulverizers want that additional gravel on top of that
Right.
asphalt material because it helps add moisture. And if they're just pulverizing through an asphalt, trying to pulverize into hopefully there's gravel
Base,
underneath
yeah.
it.
Right,
It's a lot harder on the pulverizer, putting that gravel on top of it, adds some moisture and adds that aggregate to
Material.
help blend that all together as they're pulverizing.
because I didn't know if you only had like, say, 2.5 inches of asphalt, and then you put 3 inches of gravel, will that still stay workable till the following year?
They'll probably want to nip back.
It will,
Yeah.
somewhat will knit back together. Yeah.
it's no different than asphalt millings that you can get from a contractor. People put them on their driveways and stuff, but then it does
Oh, yeah.
compact, you know what I mean, after a year or so.
Yeah,
It
gets a
doesn't
little heat
stay,
into
it doesn't stay pieces of material. It starts to mold together, so,
I
Because
made my driveway out of that.
but there's no
It's
dust.
a great driveway.
I did. I even got a roller and rolled it tight. I mean,
Well, then you did it right.
put water on it, rolled it tight.
Right.
I mean, you couldn't tell it was paved or not.
Have somebody come chip seal it, you'll never know the difference.
No, not on my driveway.
So in other words, what you're suggesting is, like when we redo a road, put 3 inches of gravel over the top of it, pulverize it. So how do we properly compact that so that we can lay blacktop on it?
Contractor should be
Contractor
compacting it. He has to compact it. That's part of his
Water
responsibility.
compacted.
Yeah, and water too.
Yep.
Because every time they bring gravel, it's not wet enough, no matter what.
If
You
you want to
always
get really into the nitty gritty of it, you have somebody come out with a nuclear density tester and test the density of that base. I mean, if you want to know that they made density on that gravel, you hire somebody to come out. American Engineering Testing can come out and do that testing for you. They'll do a proctor on the material and come up with a density for it, and then they'll go out and they'll be able to test that density. Now, is it perfect? No, because that material is now going to be somewhat variable because maybe that road had, 2 inches of gravel and it had 3 inches of asphalt, and then a quarter mile down the road it flip flops and it's something else. So there is a little bit of ambiguity with that, but that's you want to go out there and before we pave any projects, we're generally proof rolling, get a loaded quad and have a loaded quad go down it and see what the base does. If the base is rolling underneath that quad, you either have a problem under that base or you have a problem with the base.
this
But
is
you'll
one
see
awful
most
lot of our
contractors,
existing
they'll
roads.
bring water,
Looks
water.
like
That's
gravel
all cold
mix.
mix.
Because it's never wet enough,
Yeah.
That's
for-
right there.
That's cold
ultimate
mix. I can tell that.
compaction,
Yeah.
I did crack sealing and
So
seal coating
in
for
other
25
words,
years.
So
I've
you
seen
know.
it all.
pulverizing it beforehand and putting 3-4 inches of gravel over the top of it, that's no good.
Well, then you've got two separate layers. You got the
Yeah.
asphalt layer and then you got the gravel layer. Ultimately, you want to get everything combined
Mixed
into
together.
one.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And work it together.
Okay.
And then they like it because, like Phil said, when they're running that machine across that existing asphalt, they really don't know how much gravel's there. But if you add a little bit more on top of it, then they got something to work with.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they could be hitting dirt and big rocks and who knows what,
Yeah.
and bringing that up to the top.
You got probably 5 to 7 inches of mixed material versus just
When-
gravel floating on top of
Right,
compacted
yeah,
back.
Yeah,
So in
Well,
other words,
well,
then if we are gonna do a blacktop road, redo it, probably the best to do would be to replace culverts, pick rocks, all that stuff like a year ahead of time, and then put the gravel down.
Unless you're going to just put it part of the contractor to do. If the town is going to do those separately, yes, do them ahead of time,
Yeah.
or just bid it with the project. That's something to do. You guys know what it costs for you guys to do it. You probably have other things you could be doing if you weren't picking rocks and trying to replace culverts. Figure out what it costs you to do it, and then figure out what it's costing you if you're doing a couple of road projects. you might find out that, if you have to rent equipment or something like that to do it yourself, you may be better off just doing the other maintenance that you're not getting to because you're trying to do this culvert project.
Yeah.
So just pulverize existing and put new blacktop down is not generally a good thing to do.
Not the
You
best.
know, most contractors agree with us, I think, too, that,
Yeah.
yeah, you want to add gravel.
So many roads were built on just sand or whatever the native soil was. They didn't import it.
Path. Whatever way the cow went, that's where
We've got 100-yard stretch of road to a boat landing where they got thin blacktop that, if I remember correctly, is put down on forest soil.
Oh,
Yeah.
didn't even rip the topsoil off.
Not even that. And right now, it's rutted enough, there's scrape marks down the center.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Well, those are one of those things like, we'll have to communicate as far as that goes, because if we plan on doing, like, say, Springs Drive, we're gonna have to know that ahead of time
Right.
so we can get all that stuff done, let that settle, and then, so like a year or two ahead of time, and that's the hard thing to try to plan for budget wise of,
Yeah.
okay, we want to do this road, but for your recommendations, we should do all the culverts and everything first, put the gravel in, let it settle good, and then gravel and pulverize it. Okay.
Yeah, and they can just pulverize right through that gravel that you put in.
Yeah.
Kind of mix it all together and
Yeah.
make it a little bit more
And I know
homogeneous.
Preston had said that from American Asphalt, that's typically how they do it, is put the gravel over the top and then.
So you put the gravel on today, pulverize tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is that's gonna have to be planning
Right, yeah,
ahead of time, so
right.
that we're not just, hey, we got money, let's do this road. Cause that's how it
Yeah,
is,
It's a 2-year process, not a 1-year process.
Exactly.
so year one, do culverts
Yeah,
and
Yeah,
dig
pipe work.
rocks, and year two, gravel, pulverized blacktop.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because one battle, and I catch heat for it from the road guys, is compaction. I've been using that word so much that I walk in the room and they talk compaction,
Yeah,
but
well,
yeah.
and that's fine if you have all the proper equipment,
Yeah.
like putting a culvert in.
Yeah,
Yeah, we got our little handheld compactor, but
Yeah.
still we can do that and it's still
you're
within
you're trying to pack into a corner, it doesn't
Yeah.
work too well, no matter
within
what you
a
do.
few weeks, you can see that it's settled.
And if you're using a vibratory plate compactor, you should not be using any lifts more than 6 inches, which I know 6 inches, it feels like nothing and you'll never get done.
Yeah,
But a vibratory plate compactor, that's about the extent that it can compact, is about 6 inches. down.
right, yeah,
You can
Yeah,
do
and
it
if
2
you-
lifts, so.
Yeah, and if used gravel, it would be easier to compact than native soils,
Yeah.
so.
and yeah, typically when we do replace a culvert, we pull out, especially if we're pulling it apart and we see that there's muck and crap in there. Yeah, we'll take all that out and, put good gravel
Gravel,
back in
yeah.
there, yeah.
Okay, so have we beat that subject into the ground enough that we can move on?
Until you meet again, yeah.
Yeah, well, since these guys traveled all the way from Rhinelander to come here and hopefully to move ahead on a project, at least we could pick their brains a little.
No problem.
Yeah.
Happy to do it.
Yeah. Okay, so much for that. Okay, I guess we're done with you guys unless you want to be a member of the audience.
I
We're
think we're
good.
good, if you guys are good.
If you're good, we'll
Yeah.
skedaddle.
Okay.
But you're retiring.
I am. Friday.
Friday?
Friday.
Good for you.
When's the next board meeting then?
Third Tuesday of the month, 7:00.
Brian, if you'd stay for a minute, I want to talk to you.
Okay, we'll see
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Okay, next line item, approve a line of credit and signatory Forward Bank. Now, as part of the loan process, we have some preliminary paperwork to, Regina has a whole list of stuff that she's putting together for them. But one item on the list is they need an approved meeting minutes where we accept, we want Forward Bank to give us our line of credit for this Arup project. We're not committing to anything until we sign papers, and that will be down the road a bit, but this is paperwork getting ready. And so what we need is a motion where the town of Worcester accepts Forward Bank terms for a straight line of credit for the Cranberry Lake Lane Little Chicago Road project funded by an Arup grant. And that motion like that needs to be approved, and the meeting minutes need to be approved if you can do it the next regular town board meeting, and that'll be part of the loan application project for this job. Fairly straightforward. A straight line of credit is one where it is different from a revolving line of credit. Now, typically, a business like a farm needs money in the spring to put in crops, and they get money in the fall, and they need that every year. So they want a revolving line of credit. You borrow in the spring, pay it back in the fall. On a straight line of credit, and they can do that forever as long as the bank likes them as a customer. On a straight line of credit, the total amount borrowed is fixed. We can borrow X dollars this month, X dollars next month, pay it back the following month, borrow more the following month. The total amount borrowed is less than a certain amount, let's say $2 million. But we pay them interest for the amount borrowed for the number of days borrowed. So since a project like this is billed monthly and reimbursed quarterly, so we'll borrow some money this month, borrow more next month, borrow more the following month, then we get a check back and then repeat that the month after. So a straight line of credit is what we need because it's for a one-time project, and he wants to set it up for 9 months after we sign papers. So we would be signing papers at about the time the construction would start. So we have a 6-month window once we start, after we get the application together, to have a straight line of credit that would be good for 9 months, which would get us basically to the end of the year. So we would have everything paid off well before that.
What if the project doesn't go?
Then we
It's just- this is in
don't
limbo?
sign the loan papers, is all. We never sign loan papers.
Well, we don't sign the papers until we start the project?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just saw we had to sign.
This is just saying we're doing the paperwork and we're approving.
Yeah.
I would assume you as the
Correct.
signatory.
Yeah.
For Forward, so they can do the paperwork and then we don't sign it until we know for sure we get the money.
Right.
Or before, or that where the project is
Until
going
we know we're
forward. I
gonna
should
need
say.
the money, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
the idea is to get all of the paperwork together, then our contact there, our commercial loan officer, Austin Travis, takes it to his board, and they say, do we want to approve this loan to the town of Worcester? They have a total assessed value of $200+ million. They want to borrow a straight line of credit for $1.5 million, $2 million. And they got a government grant that pays them back 87.7%. So that will get us a good rate. He says interest rates right now are running about 6%.
Well, this is just to start the paperwork, so we're
Yeah, right.
getting the application.
Yeah.
I make a motion to,
Here, yeah, I better read it off. It's the bottom 2 lines there.
Make a motion for the town of Worcester to accept the Forward Bank's terms for a straight line of credit for the Cranberry Lake Little Chicago Road project funded by an ARIP grant.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Should we do a roll call on that vote just to be extra safe?
I don't think that's necessary.
No.
No.
Okay, not necessary, all right. And we also need a motion to name a signatory for this project for Forward Bank. Normally, that's the town chair.
I'll make a motion to make Jim Mickler town chair of Town of Worcester as a signatory for this loan amount.
Second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All, nobody's opposed, so motion carried. Okay, now we've got plot maps, amendment of covenants, and resolution for sale for the Red Pine subdivision, the 25 acres. What we have here is we had already previously approved the plot maps. They went to the county, they went to the state. I'm not totally clear if we need to approve them again, but we might as well just to be absolutely safe. And then the plot maps also include the covenants the rough draft covenants as of last summer, which we had amended since then. So what we do is, as a separate motion, we approve the amended covenants, which get recorded at the county clerk's office, Register of Deeds, along with the plot map. The alternative would be to change the covenants on the plot map to the new covenants, and that would require sending them back to the state for state approval and back to the county for county approval, and that would be another 6-month process.
This is taking long enough the way it is.
Yeah. And then there's also a resolution for sale that for that. So it's 3 different things to approve.
Do we have a copy of the resolution?
Okay, well, should we just amend? Yeah, that's in there. I think that's in this amended declaration. Resolution for sale of real estate and restrictions of on lots. So we need 3 motions. The first one to approve the plot maps.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the Red Pine subdivision plot maps.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carried. And second, the amended covenants, which that was the meeting where Russ couldn't make, but you and I had agreed to, and that's what Christina Ritz drew up.
I make a motion to approve the amended covenants for the Red Pine subdivision.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Motion carried. Okay, and then there's the resolution for sale. We need a motion to approve that.
I make a motion to approve the resolution for the sale for the Red Pine subdivision.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, so we got some signing to do, but that takes us to, want to move to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn at 11:52.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned.
We're gonna sign this one.
We've got a couple things to sign here.
Oh, we gotta sign this resolution too.
Yeah.